I posted a video a little while back where I've been keeping up on when I first moved back here to Iowa. They had a law where they could stop an ID. Apparently, that law went out 2017 because they charged some guy, or so I can't remember. I read the story last night. And so I posted a video. I didn't know about that because these people, when they post a law, it should be self-evident. It shouldn't need interpreted. Well, that isn't how lawyers do stuff, and they're supposed to be the ones writing the law. And I don't think they should be able to post a law if it isn't self-evident. If somebody asks a question about it, or if they hide stuff in the structure of the law, they hide it and they say use these certain words, and it's strategically worded to where it means something completely other than what it says. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be strategically stated. It should be self-evident, which is what it's supposed to be. So what happens when they write a law that's not self-evident? Like there was a knife law. I never carried a knife because it was so. I never understood the law. It was like you read it and it was like I don't. They're saying one thing here, and then in another place they'll say something else about knives, and it won't be stated in that one. It'll be stated someplace else. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be. There shouldn't be like multiple places where you have to look for a law. It should be one law, and that's it. It shouldn't be something else down the road that's dated something else that it lays in some other explanation. Nor should other states or other organizations that don't have anything to do with Iowa except, well, we report on all the laws in all the states. Because I swear it's like maybe 2020. I was looking online. I doubt if it might have been 2021. They might have just deleted all their stuff, because now I can't find anything where it talks about uh, the stop and ID law. Now it was maybe a year or two ago where I kept looking, but it's all these people that from out of state or different organizations that don't belong to this state. They just report on all states. They were saying that this law is still in effect. Well, I didn't see the small print. I don't go to the state law because they're not self-evident. You read them and it's like, well, I don't understand. Or they'll put something in someplace else, like I just said, where it states, it'll one person will say no on the law and another person will say yes on the law, and it's not in the same place. So that's the reason I don't trust anything that's stated in law. You got to wait for somebody else to come by and explain it, and then they found all these other different places that they wrote the law up where it changed the meaning of one law. You get one place where it says, "Oh no, it's fine. You could do this." Another place says, "Well, on stipulation of this, that, and the other, you can't do it." But it's not under the same law. It's not under the same statement or something like that. So the problem with this is laws aren't self-evident when they're written, and they should be, and they shouldn't be put into law if they aren't. And they shouldn't have a different meaning. They shouldn't have a different place where you look. And it should all be explained in the law. It shouldn't be as if and subpart this, and have to look under IE and subsection and all this other stuff in another place. It shouldn't be like that. If they're going to do all that stuff, why don't they just erase the law in the other place and make it just one place where it explains everything about the law instead of all this stupid lawyer crap, which isn't self-evident. So why are lawyers writing our laws if they aren't self-evident? I'll tell you why. Because they're not trying to be constitutional. They just want to be in control of something where it's them, and they get a state about it, and everybody has to question what the statement means via them, and it makes them feel important. Hell with them. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the laws. Normal citizens have to go through a freaking lawyer to find out what the laws are. It's not supposed to be like that. That's what they mean by self-evident. And it shouldn't be other states or other organizations that do stuff for a certain law, like for like one right or something like that, where they're doing it in every state, and then they don't delete the stuff. They don't go back through each state. Each time something changes, they don't go back to the states, because that's what I ran into, is these people with these organizations in other states writing interpreting what our laws are in our state, and you're going, okay, well that's what it is, because you have to go off somebody that can interpret the stuff, because the lawyers don't make anything to where it's self-evident. So everything's messed up. But I think we finally, apparently back in 2017, they got rid of the stop and ID law. But I'm not even sure, because they always put stuff in other places, or they interpret stuff, and that's the reason all this stuff happens. That's why there's such a fiasco, is because nobody's doing their job correctly, because they don't want to go under the Constitution. It should all be in one place, one law in one place, and all be self-evident. It shouldn't need somebody explaining it from another state or another country, or an organization that deals with the laws, and they don't get back around to you on the internet, maybe for 5 or 7, 8 years. So yeah, I did see that where it's changed, where it's not, there's no stop an ID law. But I don't even believe that, because there probably is. You go and say, hey, you can't ID me. They say you have to get ID'd if you're in a traffic stop, because I got ID'd when I was working. I was outside, and there was a bunch of cops around looking for some guy that was working there, but they hired a bunch of criminals at this place, or ex-criminals, but a lot of them go back, and so they I don't know how many arrests they had at that place, where they'd come there and they'd pick somebody up during the day. But I don't work there anymore, but they arrested somebody. I said, oh yeah. I said, well, they have this stop an ID law, and I said, I believe that's unconstitutional. And the cop just sit there looking at I said, he goes, well, we're looking for somebody. And I said, okay, oh, so why are you asking me? And I said, let me see a picture of the guy. And the picture they had kind of looked like me. I mean, it didn't look like me, but I mean, if you wasn't, it's like twins. If you don't know the difference between twins, I mean, this guy wasn't a twin, but it's like if you see somebody that looks like somebody. Yeah, anyway, I'm not getting into this story, why people see stuff different, but yeah, there shouldn't be organizations that go through and have to interpret, and then, because then you got to wait years, if that's where you go to find out if the law, because if law, and then it changes, and then they don't come back, and well, we don't have to go back to the internet and do any changes to our 5, 7, 8 years later, and you're dependent on them to be the interpreters, because the lawyers don't do that, which they should, and it shouldn't be a law if it ain't self-evident. So I found that out yesterday. I was reading about it. I wonder what that, and then all those posts about all these from all these organizations and everything have been deleted, or I can't find them, or I looked it up wrong, and they're still there, but I don't know. So I'll retract what I said about the stop and ID, because I thought, wow, we got a constitutional carry here, and we still got that stop and ID law. So okay, that must have changed since we got prior to getting the constitutional carry. So anyway, but I said it on a video with some other stuff. So I was just laying here. I think, man, this, and went through all the different reasons why. Lawyers not writing them correctly, people having to interpret them, and then not coming back and deleting it when the law changes, because it's like, well, we posted this to explain for the poor interpretation, for the poor writing of the law from the lawyers, and so then they don't come back in time and check up on all those state laws. So anyway, I just thought I'd post this video, but I still, it's the possibility of them having it in place of another, because it's still if you get ID'd while driving, it's still, you have to show your ID. They can go off your license plate. And why do they need, I mean, if you did nothing wrong, they just pulled you over. I don't know. Anyway.